And viewer, a warm welcome to today's edition of Nchezgo right here on Kanele 97.7 FM kwao kwa gogo kwenye kutukuria chunga za msuzi uswesi. I'm your host Stephen Nkoma. We've brought you many guests on this particular show where we discuss issues that affect our community, and the larger picture is Zambia as a country. And of course, today we are also privileged to host the 6th Zambian Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. It is the first time that we are hosting him, of course, as a radio station, having been established in 2021. Your Excellency, thank you so much for agreeing to feature on Nchezgo, and of course, featuring for the first time on Kanele 97.7 FM. Timpokeleni kuno kukaa.
Yewe dada.
Manyi kukomo mwabaleka uli?
Bali makola. Bali kali namwe dada.
Ya ikuno na setiri wakamakola. All right, so he's our guest, and we're going to discuss quite a lot of issues in case you've been thinking those big issues you wanted the 6th head of state to address in as far as Lundazi and Zambia is concerned. It is that particular time we're going to talk more about that. Your Excellency, since you left office in 2021, how has life been?
It's been very turbulent, I must say. Initially I thought it's going to be peaceful, but it turned out to be very turbulent. And I think it's because some people did not want to leave us in peace as a family. So we've been hustled, and we've hustled back to survive. So it's common knowledge now that, of course, they came and tried to squeeze me out of ordinary life by stopping me from just enjoying my being as a Zambian person, by going out to just have a bit of fresh air. Running around in the morning. That they stopped. They clamped on it. They said it was politicking. Going to church, they stopped me. They said it's politicking. You know, visiting friends, they took it that it was politicking. So everything around my life and that of my wife and children was politicized by the people in authority, such that I felt so helpless and thought I should fight back. But then the crunch came, of course, when we saw that they even want to destroy our party, Patriotic Front, by inciting people to do all sorts of wrong things, to break the laws, and get the party and use it for themselves as a special tool for the ruling party, UPND. So we said no to that. So my life really has been hectic. Of course, you know the stories of my wife and children being in court, allegations of having been a thief, plundered the country, left, right, and center, which are unfounded up to now, and the bad press that has gone against us locally and abroad, which spews lies all the time. You know, they tell lies about me in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, like Dr. Kaunda would say, lies in the morning, lies in the afternoon, lies in the evening. So it's been tough. But all the same, here we are. We're still soldiering on, and I'm glad that we're almost getting there. We're used.
All right. In case you've just joined us, we are hosting Zambia's 6th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, on today's edition of Nchezgo program. Your Excellency, have you reflected on the challenges that made you lose power in 2021? What were your successes?
Oh, our successes as Patriotic Front are so many that if you want me to tabulate them, we can take the whole day. But suffice to say that PF took the country from 2011 to 2021 to higher heights in terms of all economic activities and the quality of life enjoyed by the Zambian people. And I dare say that, unfortunately, this has been lost in the last 3 years. So there's a lot I can tell you about that, but suffice to say, I have learned a lot of things, why we lost elections. And one of the things I can tell you is that we lost elections. People are saying, yes, there was too much Kadarism. Yes, Kadarism was there. But I can tell you that one of the things which helped our friends win the minds and souls of the Zambian people was propaganda. and falsehoods. They told so much lies about me, about PF, about the government, such that we took it lightly and we thought we would bring development to the people, would bring prosperity to the people, and that would help us. But people did not bother to judge us on the basis of the development that we brought. They judged us on the basis of lies and a few misconduct, such as what you've heard to be an issue, that of cadarism.
Your Excellency, just allow me to take you back. Recently, you told the international media that you were under house arrest. Claims that the government has since refuted. How do you substantiate those claims?
Well, it's a comparative term, house arrest, and also it's contextual. For example, if I cannot move out of my country, Zambia, to go for medication at my own expense, and I'm pulled out of a plane to say, go back home and die, that for me constitutes house arrest. Mm-hmm. If I'm supposed to travel for a workshop or a symposium in South Korea, somebody comes, put me out of the plane and says, you can't travel, that is house arrest. Regulating where I should go, where I should be, who I should be with, that is house arrest. But we can debate this endlessly. But I can tell you that since we spoke out, there has been a bit of easing on the part of the state in terms of allowing me to move about. But that is not satisfactory, because when I was in Zambia, for example, they were trailing us like he wanted bandits, you know, where we went to the lodge, they were all over, and after the meeting, they sort of were chasing us in the name of escorting us. Of course, we outwitted them, we got to Mansabombwe. But at the end of the day, I'm not as free as you are, for example. You came all the way from Lusaka to Lundazi, I came all the way from Malawi. I would do pass. But for me, they went, where is Edgar Lungu? Just the other day, they were in Mpurungu, ransacking lodges left, right, and center, turning them down.
Are they looking for you to provide the security?
No, what security? What security? Because they've grabbed all the policemen they gave us. They grabbed all the policemen they gave us, that I am not entitled to politics, to police protection, because I'm in politics. So why trouble me by sending policemen to follow me? The incident in Kabwe where they said we have been told that you can't be here. That's to speak of freedom of movement. I was visiting a bishop. This policeman just comes and says, you can't be here. Why? No, we are told that you can't be here. So is that the freedom that you want me to say I am free? So I can tell you that I'm a virtual prisoner, and I don't like it. And wherever I go, I'm followed. Followed like a wanted, a dangerous criminal. And that's not fair. We can debate endlessly, because I saw some government minister saying, no, he's free, he's free. He goes, I can't go to town today and be left alone. They will come. And they will say, no, you can't be here. That I can assure you. But I should subscribe to the perception that I'm free, I'm not under house arrest. House arrest is a legal term, or it can be a political term. I want to be as free as these guys are to go to the market, to go to the cinema theater, to go to the shopping mall, to go to church without let or hindrance. That's what I want. That's the freedom I want, and that's what the freedom I want for everybody.
Do you think they regard your movements as a way of campaigning ahead of the 2026 election?
But what's wrong with campaigning if I'm campaigning? Am I not free to campaign? Is there any law which stops me from campaigning, if at all? I'm not campaigning, but I'm moving around doing my business. But if they perceive it as campaign, it's not wrong.
Your comeback to active politics, Your Excellency, has sparked mixed reactions. In as much as there are those who are backing your comeback or this particular stance, there are still those who hold a thought of saying you should have retired. How would you react to these concerns by the people?
You know the Morocco, is it the Cameroon? Cameroon had a football team. They had a player called Roger Miller. He was their star player. I think he retired for a while and they found their fortunes depleting or going down. They recalled him from retirement. And I remember 1994, He featured in the World Cup in Europe and in America. And he did very well, and he was a super sub. So politics, I don't think is something you can retire from, if I am to be honest with you. You can only reduce your participation in politics as you get older, right? Eventually you want to skip away completely. I don't know whether people like Honorable Venon Mang have retired. From time to time he makes statements on politics. Can you call that retirement? I don't think it's retirement. But I've come back to active politics and I will participate because the freedom of myself as an individual, that of my members of the party, that of my family members has been compromised by those who wield powers of the state. Take, for example, what they did to PF. They massacred PF. They dismembered PF. They brought in strange characters and said, this is the president of PF. No mandate whatsoever from the people in the party, right? President. And they go in the night, they change fingerprints. The following morning, they go and they register. That is a criminal act on the part of the state. So with all that, you want me to be in retirement? No, I can't. Because PF is what brought me here. And I think I will not die a peaceful death if I was to die today without restoring PF to what it is. By the way, I've been saying to people who want me to reconcile with the president that, look, the only way we can start talking about reconciliation is for the man to begin restoring democracy. And how he restores democracy to me is by restoring the legitimate leadership into PF where we were on 23rd October 2023, where we had elected leaders like myself as president and others, including our SGs and everybody. Once he restores that, he tells his people in the civil service to say, guys, can you correct this? They register record to show the true reflection of the leadership of the party. Then we're on our way to go. They've done that with other political parties as a system, and I can't allow that. So we are going to fight. So talk of retirement, you retire when you are comfortable, that things are okay. But when you're an old man and you see things are being messed up, and you sit and watch the children, no, you put on your warrior garb, and you take your spear and your segai and your chamtung, and you go and fight with them. That's what they do. So that's what I've done. So I've come back because democracy has been disseminated. Democracy has been killed. You know the political parties, they just pick and choose and go and destroy. So I should sit there that you did my part. I'm not yet finished.
Of course, the Patriotic Front Party has seen several factions, like you have alluded to.
It's the same faction.
Of course.
It's like an amoeba. It just replicates itself.
Is there a better way of resolving these matters other than the suggestion that you have made of taking back the legitimate leadership?
What's the better way than restoring what is right to the people of the party, the people who are the electoral college, to choose their leader at the next election when it is due? You can't just come into a house, remove the husband of the family or the father of the family and replace them with somebody else and say, this is your father, guys, because I'm in charge, or else I'll beat all of you. You don't do that. So there's no better way than going to the courts. But the courts seem to have been compromised. As we can see, they take too long and they're not moving in the right direction or the right pace. So we suspect that there is some collusion between the executive and the legislature in dealing with party politics, especially when they go to court.
Some sections are suggesting that probably these wrangles in PF may go beyond 2026 so that you are destabilized as a party and then you don't also take part in the general election that will be held that year. Is it possible that these matters could be resolved on time and see the PF back to where it belongs?
I can tell you that with what I know, there's no desire on the part of those who are manipulating troublemakers in PF to bring about peace, orderliness, and harmony in the party. It serves them better that way. A dead, weak, or sick PF suits them well. So chances of resolving these matters by 2026 are slim, but we haven't ruled them out. They are slim, and we are pursuing those chances. But you ask me about Plan B. I can't tell you Plan B. Well, that's a tactic now. That's a strategy, you know. So, speaking for PF, we want to salvage PF back into the formidable political party that it once was, held together under one leadership, and indeed contributing to democracy in this country. And I would like to believe you that the meeting we had yesterday talked about this issue at length. It was a long one, and we all agreed that we need PF. Zambia's political landscape needs PF, and we are going to fight till we get it. But if they sketch that they will not allow PF or Edgar Lungu to be candidates in the 2026 elections, obviously there is Plan B. But Plan B is not for public consumption.
All right. In case you've just tuned in, this is the live broadcast of Nchezgo program all the way from plot number 3188 here in Chimchulu compound of Lundazi District. I'm your host, Stephen Nkoma, and we have the bragging rights. We are hosting the 6th Republican President of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, being the first media house in Zambia to do that after he lost elections in 2021. Other than that, he has appeared on international media outlets, and indeed we are the first to do just that. Your Excellency, you did underscore quite a lot that you achieved in your leadership, and just some comparison. Fuel prices under your reign were as low as 13 kwacha per litre, and as far as petrol is concerned, now we are talking 33 kwacha per litre. If we also get to our staple food, meal costs 400 kwacha for a 25 kilogram bag. What's your take on these comparisons?
Doesn't that give me and PF bragging rights? When we compare that, just compare the price of meal, the price of fuel, doesn't that give me, as a party leader of PF at the time when power, and my political party PF when we're in government, bragging rights to say we were much better than these guys? Especially that these guys were saying, look, when you vote us in the morning, by tomorrow, the price of fuel will be 12 kwacha. When you vote us in, the price of meal will be 50 kwacha. 3 years down the line, something else. So when we brag, we don't do it from without. We have a very good foundation to show that, yes, we did it. And we were much better. I still stand head and shoulder taller than the current president in terms of achievements.
All right. The 2016 happenings, we did see you assent to the new amended constitution, and later on we also saw you trying to introduce Bill 10, which we did see the opposition UPND then go to the streets celebrating that the Bill 10 was shot down. With that particular
why were they celebrating, if I may be allowed to ask you a question, why were they celebrating? The UPND guys were celebrating that they've shot Bill 10 down. Why were they celebrating? Just permit me one question, just that one. Why were UPND celebrating that they have slaughtered Bill 10?
Maybe our viewers and listeners will help me answer that particular question.
Because it was a bad law. Right? That's what they were saying. Okay. So they were celebrating because it was a bad law. And they said, leave the Constitution as it is because the Constitution is intact, it's good enough as it is, right? You remember that their leader then, who is now the President of the Republic, appeared on a series of television stations defending the Constitution of 2016. I think the document need not be changed because Lungu and his team want to manipulate it so that probably they can stay in power longer and acquire more power and so on. He said it. And we were defeated. And when we were defeated, obviously time came, they got power. And now, lo and behold, we hear that they want to amend the same document, which was very good. And I'm glad to that scholar, become politician, what's the name of John Sangwa. He put it on record. This is the best constitution we've had so far in a long while. And I've got no reason to doubt him. And they say it's a good constitution. So tell me, why suddenly they want to say what is the big word, lacunas in the constitution? Or is it lacune? You know, we were surprised. What's good for the goose must be good for the gander. What was good for us must be good for them. what was bad for us must be bad for them. That's why we keep saying in our quest to provide checks and balances. These guys should not take us back to do things which were condemning us, which they were frowning upon, which they were organizing local and the national community to support them for, and use them again to suppress us. No, we won't allow that. And these people who come back with the excuses are saying, look, Lungu did that, why can't we do it? I did it and I paid the price, and Zambians were saying it was bad, so why should we allow him to do it? What is bad is bad. And I will not be swayed or put down because no, but PF therefore now if it is Menya. It's wrong. That's why PF lost. So if PF lost because they were beating people, should we allow UPND to beat people because they will say Lungu Muzomenya Vantunaim?
Your Excellency, how would you assess President Hichilema's performance so far in office? 3 years ticking?
Me, to assess him. Why can't you ask the Zambians to assess him? The Zambians are the ones who are carrying the burden of their living. The Zambians are the ones who know the price of meal. The Zambians are the ones who know the price of cooking oil. The Zambians are the ones who know transport costs. So you do a survey. You do a survey, go around the country, talk to the ordinary citizens, listen to the radios, talk shows in the morning and the afternoon. They will tell you who's better, who did better, and so on. And why do you think they're worried about the cry of what they waited up? It's because they know that for sure they waited up.
Okay. Your opponents, Your Excellency, do allege that you never invested in the energy sector, which has now led to the blackouts that we're experiencing. Of course, we did see load shedding in your reign as well, which you also alleged to some droughts. How did you handle drought then for Zambia and Lundazi in particular not to face the blackouts that we're facing now? Because some places are going for days without electricity. Some of them are now claiming having electricity in their homes or workplaces is but a rumor.
You see, when we came in, electricity production was at 1,600 megawatts in Zambia. But by the time we were leaving, it was 3,800 or so megawatts, and we were able to export. And we had done a lot of work in terms of new production areas. Gojloa, for example, which the man was saying was not operational. It was operational at the time we were transferring power. There was only one turbine which was yet to be commissioned. And I can tell you that people in Mansa will tell you we have upgraded the Shimba Falls from 10, I think, to 15 megawatts or something. So if there's a success story we can talk about, it is in the energy sector. We have solar energy in Bangweulu. Bangweulu is in Lusaka, by the way. Bangweulu is not in Bangweulu. There's a company called Bangweulu which produces solar energy in Lusaka, in the south of Lusaka, near the MFES, and this goes on the Nchezgo grid. So about 600 or so megawatts. So I can tell you for a fact that we were more diversified, that we were more objective in our quest to make sure that there is a good mix of electricity in Zambia, and people were able to access electricity and reasonably priced. And I think our energy policy speaks for itself, because we wouldn't have been exporting electricity now, as it is now. I know that they're exporting 250 megawatts, and they're saying we have to export because of diplomacy. You can't do that. At a time like this, you have to keep everything in your country and make sure that you even import some energy so that people are able to go about with their lives. Production in manufacturing, in agriculture, and everywhere is going on and so on. Now, suddenly they're telling us that we should go solar. Everyone should go solar. It's an opportunity to go solar. But they never told us that when you vote for us, we'll cut you off the grid, you go solar. We wouldn't have voted for them. Most Zambians are saying so. If they told the Zambian people that will hive you off the national grid and will demand that you have off-grid energy production, including solar, because we will not be able to sustain production and distribution of energy. Zambians wouldn't have voted for them. So they lied yet again on energy. But I tell you, we stand like I said, the toll on the supply of energy. Our energy policies were very sound and so on. And you know, this is again brings me to good neighborliness. If we were good diplomats, I don't see why we can't go to Mozambique. I don't know why we can't go to Angola and other places and ask guys who've got surplus energy. Can we be assisted? We did that at one time. We went offshore in Mozambique. On the coast in the Indian Ocean, we had a ship anchored there for months and supplying energy to us through the system, transmission system from Mozambique to Zambia. And that's why we have these interconnectors and so on. So it's like they can't even talk to each other. The Zambian government can't talk to Mozambique, for example, for some reason, to say, help us, we're in a crisis. Because the only crisis we help is when there is a crash. For example, in Malawi, may the soul of the Vice President, Saulos Chilima, rest in peace. When he died, we were very quick to help out because we wanted brotherhood, brotherliness, and so on. But what I'm telling you, good neighbors visit each other. Good neighbors talk to each other. Good neighbors ask each other.
Should that now cement what you've just said? Because here in Lundazi we're facing the similar challenge, and the business community, whom we can't name for the sake of protecting their businesses, have come through to this radio station and asking probably that if we could be reconnected to Malawi, and when the national grid stabilizes, we could be brought back. But the authorities now seem more centered on using a genset and then buying fuel, which they claim to be sustainable. But those that are directly connected to this problem, they're suggesting that reconnecting Lundazi to the Malawian grid is the best alternative. Are you telling us that they are not going for that option because the relationship with our neighbors has gone south?
Well, it's not me to say, but I can tell you that a good neighbor is one who reaches out to his friends and tells them that I've got this problem, how can you help? I can tell you without being a guru at diplomacy that we have lost our standing in the SADC region because we don't reach out to our friends reach out to us, and in the end they get fed up. Why should we be the only ones reaching out to Zambia? What I'm saying is that the Zambian electrical power dilemma could have been resolved by talking to each other, finding out the people in Zimbabwe, how are they doing it? Because we're in the same region. We draw water from the Kariba for electricity and so on. And the subcontinent has got more or less the same source of water. We're dealing with Mozambique, we're dealing with Angola, we're dealing with Namibia. We can always talk to each other. The Bimbas were saying, Mwapoleni, Akulile, Umushi. Just being nice to each other, greeting, hello boy, hello boy. No, but we have a head of state who is aloof, who thinks he knows everything and he can handle everything and so on. Looks down upon people he found already in situ as presidents. You can't do that. You have to humble yourself. Go to Tanzania, they've switched off some of the production centers for electricity because they have excess. But why can't you go and ask them, can you switch on one or two to give us power? It's because you...
All right, in case you have just tuned in, this is Nchezgo, right here on Kanele 97.7 FM. We'll be right back pretty soon as we continue our conversation with Zambia's 6th Nchezgo returns. Thank you so much for still staying with us. We are hosting Zambia's 6th Republican President, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And I'm your host, Stephen Nkoma. We've discussed quite a lot of issues. The second part of our talk will be centered on agriculture, and also we want to go back to energy and get to see, because this is the challenge that we have right about now. Several days you do not have electricity and you have to go solar, which a lot more people are complaining that you need money to invest in or buy those solar panels, buy batteries and whatnot. We just want to hear more from His Excellency and of course get to know if at all he could have done it better. and what could have actually happened. Your Excellency, welcome back to Nchezgo.
Thank you.
Yes, you talked about the energy sector in regards to actually what is happening now, and also you did stress a point that it seems our relationship with the neighbors has actually not been what it has always been in the past. Maybe just share with us, what did you do, of course, not to face this challenge in your reign, which a lot of people would agree with me right now that yes, there was load shedding during that particular time, but we didn't have these blackouts. And then they're also saying, if you won the 2021 elections, we could have seen worse things than what we're seeing today.
You see, let me start by saying that in management of resources in any nation, you listen to the experts, you listen to the technocrats who give you opinions and options, and then you take that one which suits you best. But I'm afraid the current leadership does not have the luxury of getting technical opinions or options. They just wake up, bang, they're gone, and they're deciding and they're doing. Because when you have surplus, and for electricity you can't store, you export. At that point, you negotiate contracts with your friends, you export. And when you have a deficit, you reduce on the exports. So if you're going to work out contracts, there should be flexibility in those contracts such that when you have times of plenty, you are at liberty to export. And when there is a deficit, you hold back electricity so that you are able to supply your people, your needs, and so on. That's what we did. There's no magic about that. So I can tell you that we listened a lot to the Zambian people, the experts, the gurus in the industry. They're not our friends in the Europe or America, but the local industry has its own experts and so on. So that's what we did. And they could even predict that with the water levels in Kariba, we are going to have a problem. Because the water levels in Kariba is managed by ZRA, not Zambia Revenue Authority, but the Zambezi River Authority. They manage the waters and they know how much of it Zambia can use and how much of it Zimbabwe can use. And they are always giving guidance to the two republics on how much water to utilize so that there's enough water to take them through to the next season. So that's what we would have done, and would have done it better. Because we knew and we know that you listen to those who know. But what we have in Zambia is a leader who wants to tell experts all the time. When he meets experts, he's telling them what's in his head and how he thinks things can be better and so on. And these young men and women are just like, wow, what is he telling us? Instead of learning. And I think it's unfortunate.
Load shedding during your reign, Your Excellency, sorry to cut you short, was referred to as lack of leadership.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
What could we refer to the current blackouts?
Well, for the first time ever, Zambia lacks leadership. For the first time ever, Zambia lacks leadership. You know, they were saying they had the vision, and look at Dubai, Hakuna Fula, for 10 years, it's now viral, videos are all over showing this guy lampooning us and calling us names that we had no vision. Clearly, Zambians now should decide who has a vision and who hasn't, but we had the vision. I can take you to maize, I can take you to anything. We had the vision, but they didn't have. These people, we told Zambians that they will sell this country. We want Zambians when they come about that. They've been selling from the word go. Now when they find that they're selling, and selling in a very obvious manner, they contrive schemes, they bring their friends from abroad, they come in as investors and so on. Yet they're the same people who are buying these things, this privatization phase 2. So for me, I think that we cheated ourselves, or we allowed ourselves to be cheated by these cheats.
They are saying Zambians understand and know that the president is not responsible for ends. All these problems are as a result of a drought. Did you face any drought during?
Well, we
your
did. We did. We faced drought in 2015, 2016. We faced drought. We faced drought. Some drought more severe than this one, but we managed because we had vision, we had foresight, and we knew how to save for a rainy day. It's biblical to save for a rainy day, not to blame the past. No. We saved for a rainy day, and that's how we survived both in agriculture, that's how we survived in the energy sector, because we saved for a rainy day. Sometimes I would insist that, why don't you give us more water in the Zambezi Kariba water sharing scheme so that we have more energy? They said, no. You need to hold on. And they even developed this term, what do they call it? Load management. They called it load management. But it was far much better. People were able to plan. You plan that in the morning from 6 you have power up to 18 hours today at work. But now you can't because the electricity visits you at midnight. And by morning it's gone. And you can't do anything. So companies are closing, people are losing jobs and so on. I think we did much better because we planned, we had vision, and we listened to the experts. So I don't really want to compare myself and contrast myself with a failure anyway. It's unfair. The guy doesn't just match the class of leadership we provided in PF. He doesn't match the quality of the ministers that we had in PF. He doesn't match the character of the technocrats in the civil service. He has, purged everybody and has brought in his own who are learning by the job, and some of them who don't even have a clue of what they're supposed to be doing. That's why we are here.
Lundazi is known to be a farming hub because the majority of our people depend on this. What was it that you were doing in the past regime to ensure that we have the so-called bumper harvests that the country recorded during your reign?
You see, during our time, by now, we would have had in the sheds in Lundazi all the requirements for the farmer. We would have had seed maize, or seed as they call it. We would have had the fertilizers, insecticides, and everything in readiness for the rains. Because preparedness is not enough if you don't prepare in good time. So what we did best is we prepared for farming by making sure that inputs go to the farmer in good time. We know the problem of some roads being impassable. We tackled those in time. And at the end of the day, the farmer was just merely waiting for the good Lord to bless him with the rains so that he could start farming. And that's what we did best. So when you say, no, leadership lacking, who lacks leadership? They lack leadership. Because right now, as we talk, you can go around all the chiefdoms here in Lundazi. You'll be amazed that none have received. You've been around. How many have received the fertilizer or seed? I don't even know whether they've been paid for their last crop. So I think that there's no magic here. When we say kubomfiamano, kusebenzi samutu, that's what we used to do. Not to talk about how you use your head without using it.
All right. Fast forward to 2026, if you were re-elected, what would you do differently?
I would make sure we don't export maize. I would make sure we don't export maize in the manner that we saw this government do. And I would make sure we don't export power in the manner that they are doing. And I would make sure that I satisfy the Zambian people before I satisfy my neighbors. Of course, we used to do that, but we would reinstate that kind of behavior where Zambians come first. The welfare and good living of Zambians should be of primary concern to us as leaders. All of us, starting from the president to the vice president, the ministers, the civil servants, we should all be mindful that we are here to save the Zambian people. In short, priority number one should be to save the Zambians. If we have bumper harvest, we make sure we store sufficiently to have something in the coming season. If we have excess energy, we manage it in such a manner that we don't deprive the Zambians of the energy like we have done now. Because if the energy being sent to the mines, exported and so on, was used for us here, there would be a difference. The load shedding and the suffering of the people wouldn't be as heightened as it is. You know, we would have continued. In fact, we continue. Like I said, the Chishimba in Kasama, Chishimba Falls, there was an investment there, a big one. Msonda Falls in Mansa, there was an investment there, a big one. And indeed, the Bangweulu solar energy in Lusaka, near the Emphase there, which produces, that's a 600, which produces about 60 megawatts, would have been accelerated. Such investments would have been accelerated. And I think that we can do, we will do when the time comes.
Others would say there are attempts to stop you from recontesting future elections. We've seen issues in court in that regard. We have also seen what has happened to the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front. Is it possible for your re-election in 2026 with all these things that are happening around you and the party?
Why do you think that they're fighting so hard to make it difficult for me to participate in the next election? It's because they know that we will wallop them. They are worried because they know that they stand no chance at all. The track record and mine now are being juxtaposed and weighed, and people are saying, whatever. So they're fighting hard using the legal framework to see whether they can stop me. We've heard of plans to use the courts, we've had plans to use the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and so on. But we are saying no to manipulation. Let there be free and fair elections in Zambia, where people pick a candidate of their choice, and may the country's peace prevail on account of respect for the institutions we have given ourselves to manage our affairs, instead of the manipulation we are seeing now, where you go to ECZ, you tell them you do the ERTC. What right have they got to do the Electoral Reform Technical Committee program like they're doing? All this is manipulation. But we are saying no, and the Zambians will say no, and the Zambians will vote in December, in 2026, in August, and they will be on the ballot paper.
Your Excellency, let's get straight to this Lundazi community.
Our people in Lundazi.
Yes, Vanabakwinu. In 7 years that you were president of this republic, you visited this place, if my memory does serve me right, 4 times. Your successor in the 3 years of his reign has not made such an attempt. Just a word to the Lundazi people. Why did you commit that much to visit them? Because we know and we've heard that you people, once you are sent to that particular office, you become very, very busy. But beyond your busy schedule, you spared 4 different times to meet with your people here, Kanele Bokosiwan.
No, mine is to thank the area member of parliament, Wamama, Brenda Nyirenda, and our councillors Yose, for continuing working for the people, including the chairman, the chairperson for the council, the mayor. But the truth is that we visited lots and lots of areas. It was our practice, it was our standard system. I was just telling somebody, a friend from Northwestern Province, just the other day, that I spent a lot of time in Solwezi, come to think of it. In fact, I don't know whether it was 6, 7 times that I went to Solwezi and Northwestern Province. So visiting people is the norm. Visiting people not for cameras, but visiting people to learn from them, the challenges that they are facing, how you as government can come in and create an environment which will be conducive for them to prosper and lead decent lives is what is critical. And you can't delegate that part where the president is supposed to be with the people. When you're with the people, they will tell you, when you are in State House, you get intelligence reports, including fictitious reports, but those reports will not give you as much appreciation of the suffering of the people, or the needs of the people, as you would if you are visiting regularly. So, qui to Lundazi, I'm not surprised that I'm on record as having visited 4 times, but Northwestern Solwezi, I think I visited 6 times. And the other places, they will tell you that he was the most frequent. Kwanabwa, they know me. I used to go there very much, and we were doing roads and so on, and I was personally following up on these projects. So a leader should be practical. And being practical simply means being on the field with the people and listening to their plight, and also finding measures. Some measures, you can raise them right on the spot and say, Provincial Minister, PS, can we do this? Or you say, when I get to Lusaka, I'll follow this one up, and I think it will be resolved. So, Bantu Wakwitu, Lundazi, be assured that I'm coming again and again and again, and ensure that we restore your dignity, we restore the quality of life that you are entitled to, as opposed to talking about statistics and things in Lusaka which don't make sense to you.
Your Excellency, your concluding remarks.
So, my concluding remarks is simply to assure Zambians that the future of your lives depend on how you vote. You have already seen how you've been messed up from 2021. So this time, make sure that you get your voters' cards, your NRCs, and come 2026, do the right thing. Vote out those who are dead wood and bring in people who will work for you. That is very important. You know, the right you have to elect leaders is actually a shareholding investment. When you invest, the dividend that you expect as a Zambian national is prosperity, is development, is quality of life, improvement in the quality of your life, not rhetorics. We are doing very well. We are doing very well on CDF. We are now at 31 million, but how does it translate to the people on the ground? Nothing. We are doing very well. We've got free education. Look at the quality of education they're giving your children, 0. So it's up to you, Zambians. And I know that you have learnt your lessons. We have learnt our lessons. We'll never gamble with power again.
All right, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for coming through to Kanele Bokoswano and according us the bragging rights to be the first media house in Zambia to have a one-on-one chat with you after losing elections in 2021. That's all we could accommodate on Nchezgo today. We would like to thank each one of you that actually did find time to tune in. This is Kanele 97.7 FM, your award-winning radio. The most innovative radio station is an award which we got a few weeks ago from the Kuala Awards that were hosted for the year 2024. Eastern Province and beyond. We thank you so much for supporting this radio station. Our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, we do have followers in South Africa, we have followers in UK. Thank you so much for supporting Wairesia Kwinu. We love you so much. Bye-bye.